Where are we going? North.
Welcome to Dungeons and Dragons.
Therapeutic benefit in role-playing games.
Welcome to Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh yeah, baby.
Your presence quested in exchange for treasures.
Red River.
Are we talking one treasure each?
Count that.
Yeah, he throws it off the far side of the tower where the mountain cliff goes down. And you're a bloody mess, mind you.
Oh yeah, totally.
But yeah, you've got one wound left, so you can reroll your guard. But your guard at -2. You're only rolling 2 dice for your guard now because I've
lost
the two wounds give you. Yeah, you only have 2 guard dice now. So your passive roll is also only 2 dice. Does that make sense to everybody too? Right? That your passive dice and your rerolling guard is all down. Awesome. Odonuts, your go.
All right. So I will try to do again like as much damage as possible.
Yeah.
And I think just narratively, I see like all of this happening, and he gores the creature, and like so I move to his backside, which of course he could just turn and smash me, but in terms of the setup, like I'm coming around and I'm gonna try to just like shove the greatsword like right through one of his kidneys, hypothetically.
Yeah. What's your footing on that?
And so I don't know can I use guile if I do that where he's like focused on something else and I'm peeking around.
Perfect. Yeah, that's perfect.
That fight guile.
I think I want to use fight guile on defense then. I think that he's got to it takes one to know one type deal. So if you're being sneaky, I'm going to use fight guile on defense, which gives him 8. I'm going to roll my passive dice. So he's got 1 wound down, so his guard die is down. So he's only rolling 5.
Excellent.
So fireball die. It feels weird going from rolling 11 dice to rolling 5. Just so you know. Okay.
Okay, I'm good.
I got 3-1-1.
3-2-1-1.
Oh, whoa! So you landed a talent there. Your hacking blade wasn't engaged, so you can't really use those. You can do fatigue with it still, though.
All right, yeah. Then I'll definitely do that.
Yeah. And that's 4. That's 8.
Plus an additional 5.
Yep. Dig it. That's going to be a roll for. I use my passive roll. That was your attack roll. And Theravis.
So I think I want to use another art, but I'm not sure if it works the way I think it does. So I want to use Frenzy on Adaha. So she gets another roll per round, and plus do DPD
damage per die. That's a big one.
Downside, you're kind of in a blood rage, and you don't recognize your own friends. So there's that. But I can fly away, so I don't care. So yeah, I think she's going to take the blood from the freshly fallen lizard and be like, well, no, use it's anger. It's not happy that it's dead. Use this anger.
You're taking like the green lizard blood and like putting it into Adana, and she's like,
yep.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, okay, so are you going to resist this, Adana, or no?
No.
Okay, so all you have to do then, Tony, is you got to roll and just make sure you can form attacks with all your dice.
Okay. With all of them? So there's nothing left over?
Right.
Okay.
That's your goal. Then you don't have to roll it as
right.
Oh, I guess you've got a source of 3 for your blood magic, so it's -3 dice anyway. So you'll probably be fine, but so you'll roll your 8 arcane dice.
Yep.
And hopefully you can get like, anything. Like 2-2-2-2 or 4-2, whatever.
And my target is Thrive and Fight, so an 8. Oh, hey, this is a good time to roll 10s. I indeed have 4 2s.
Nice. So yeah, so all that did was just save drain. Like the chaos that, like, it was an automatic success, but you just have to sort of contain the chaos, right? Any dice that you can't use backlash against yourself.
So I used the lizard's blood, not my own.
Like perfect defense.
Yep.
Great. So now we're gonna roll that. So it's gonna be one more roll per round, and you can do this multiple turns and accelerate it. But you roll that 1d10.
Oh, you
shock.
also get what I was about to say. Yeah, you get 1d10 shock as well. Do I
Yeah.
roll that, or does Conrad? Or does
Whoever
it matter?
wants to.
I'm gonna do it because I'm doing the damage to Conrad.
Nice.
2.
Yeah.
Oh, not bad at all.
Yeah. I was hoping for higher, thematically.
Yes, thematically.
Because this isn't pleasant to look at, I'm sure.
So you're down. You're at what? You're at 31 guard right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's just your shock on the side, right? So yeah, it doesn't do anything or affect you right now. And so I added that one more roll per round, so you're at 3 then for this round, and you have +2 damage per die when you're doing that's fatigue only though, right? Yeah. Snakes. Ogre turn. It's got 1 roll left.
As I enter my frenzy, I scream at its backs.
Wait, how?
Yeah.
It's going to do an indirect attack against all of you. I'm going to do like an area effect on you.
Oh, snap.
It is going to smash down through the tower. It's hurt. It's got, halfway through its last wound. It's going to kind of move down towards the tower and just get in that shaft and just kick back, try to bust out the tower, right? Curl up and just push out. So, and I'm going to say it's strong enough to do it because I want to. So I'm going to roll just like the indirect, just like the throw against Adana earlier. I'm going to roll for a big tack. And that tack is going to then determine the fall damage that you take. So no side tacks are needed here. But if I only roll a 4 and you roll a 5, you don't have to cancel it out. You win, right? This is just whoever has the highest tack wins.
And what's the combo we were rolling here?
You can roll whenever you want. You guys are on top of
That's
a
okay.
bursting tower. Okay. I'll
And
let
are
you know.
we-
I got my 5. So
And are we rolling just our normal dice pool?
anything you want. If you wanna spend a whole, if you want to have your 9 dice, you can roll it in mundane. If you just want to use your passive guard, you'd be rolling 2 dice. But you could also say, you're at 26. Are you going to take a wound from the fall or not? We don't know. Oh, actually, you wouldn't, right? Because I said it's 5 per floor, or 5 per die. I did on that last one, so it'll do 25 damage. So you'll be just set. Well, and you got your 2 armor. So.
So we have to beat a 5 in order to
Mhm. Yeah.
resist. So yeah, I'm not going to bother rolling the full. Just do passive.
Smart. Just take it.
Yeah.
And is that meet or exceeds, or it has to beat?
Nope. Meet or exceed, because then technically they would cancel out. Anybody?
Yeah. So I mean, I'm taking it.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I'll also passively defend as well.
So we'll do the. So the Adana gets grounded at what? At 8? And Theravis gets. Oh, Theravis is still at 9.
Yeah, I'm just taking it too.
Okay. Yeah, smart. So yeah, and then you'll be grounded at. What are you grounded at? 6?
I'm grounded at 6. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so all three of you then line down. And granted, I have no rolls left this round, so Shezron has 2, and Shezron is up, and you technically have range on this thing. So,
Sure do.
or I guess technically the indirect attack can change ranges, but I would say no. I mean, if you all sort of you fell off and it like slid down the middle, so it's kind of like half in the hole. The whole tower just sort of exploded outwards, and it's now like in ground level where the pit is, right? And it's kind of like hanging on to some of the crumbled walls.
And do we know where the fatigue is at on this guy?
It's below 20.
It's below 20, okay. But so not grounded. All right, I'm just gonna. So. let's write this
Close to
down.
grounded.
Yeah.
Zero. So just a reminder that my fight move is down because I got a 6 target because my lizard's gone.
Oh right.
Yep. So
Poor
being
dude.
a good citizen
mean-
here.
He's still with us in spirit.
He's still literally in me.
Yeah.
That's actually yeah.
I can put him in you too if you want.
Please don't put anything in me. Yeah. Okay, so then those go.
I'm rolling the
Which
defense because I'm
means-
assuming that you've rolled.
I have rolled, yep. And I'm just working out my numbers. If you see me like looking down and muttering math to myself,
That's what I just saw. I was like, oh, that's what he's doing.
yeah.
I think I have my most common roll of the night again.
All right, ready?
Yep, 3-1-1.
I've got 2-2-2-1.
Oh, okay. So one of the ones cancels out. What are you gonna do with that first 2?
Yep. So first 2, since I'm still in my footing for my what is called skill blade,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna use my sword.
Are you gonna kill me before I kill you?
I'm not sure. We're gonna find out.
You can try multiple times though, right? You've got a few 2s in there, right?
I've got 3 2s, yeah.
Well, and what's your the weapon you've got is
It's a sword.
4. So I'm at
So does that 4 act as a bonus on each die in the attack?
no, it'll be on the stack itself.
Beyond the stack itself, okay. So each attack will be 2d10 plus 4?
Yep. I guess what I'm trying to think is maybe you want to do fatigue with one of them.
Yeah, that's where my head was at, was like doing
Yeah.
fatigue with one of them because he's not grounded yet.
Right. And remember, he has 5 aura, which is like just the fearsomeness of the creature, and 3 armor. So he has 8 plus his current guard.
Right. Okay. So yeah, so I'll do the first is fatigue,
Okay.
which is
So
gonna
that'll be 4.
Is it a straight 4 or do I roll also?
No, that's just a straight. That's just damage per die.
Damage per die. Okay.
So it's going to do 2 each.
Where does the 4 come in?
You have the load of your sword is 2, so it's 2 per die. So that one attack of 2 is like 4 fatigue.
Plus an additional 4 or 4 total?
4 total.
And
Yeah, it's damage
add
per
the
die.
balance at the end.
You add the balance when you're striking.
when you're striking.
Oh, you only add the balance when
And
you're striking.
Adana gets to add the load again as a bonus. That's the hacking blade.
Okay, that's the part I was missing. So you only add that balance when you're striking. You
Mhm.
don't add. Okay, gotcha. So each attack is going to be 4.
Mhm.
Got it. Okay. So yeah. So I use the first one toward fatigue.
Okay, and I'll just tell you, just because it's better drama that way, he's at 15 now. So you'd have to roll 23.
Which means I'd have to roll almost perfect on a. I mean, he's at 23 total.
Yeah. So you could do another 4 with the next 2. And he'd be down to 11 plus, then it's 19. Then you got to do 19 with your 2d10
The
plus
2d10
4.
plus 4.
So you'd have to roll 15 on the 2d10.
And what's the disadvantage of using a strike on both of them to try to hit the 23 on both of them? Like,
Nothing.
what happens if I miss a strike?
Nothing because you're already grounded. So
Got it.
yeah. The issue is, I mean, are you going to be able to roll 19
Right.
even in 2 tries, or is it easier to roll?
Let's roll a 15 in one try.
Yeah.
Right, because if you miss the strike, you don't lower fatigue.
I don't lower the fatigue at all. So yeah,
Right.
so I'm going to do that. So I'm going to lower the fatigue to 15.
Okay. And then you want, yeah, so you're lowering the fatigue to 11 plus
11.
his 8 defenses is 19, but you have a plus 4 bonus, so you need to roll 15.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Do it to it.
For all the marbles. Okay, so I'm going to roll my 2d10 plus 4. And 13.
Again.
The same blunder.
Yeah, I think that's how it's going to go. So you do that strike. So it would technically then do fatigue to yourself, but you're grounded, so it's fine. And he rolls his strike against you, 3-3-2, plus his horn. So he got 13 total. So I think that would do that.
That does it.
That does it. Where I didn't pick on you. That was my defense. You
Four.
attacked me. But I like that though too, especially with, so you're not technically dead. You would be considered you're dropped out. And so at the end of the scene, you kind of roll on like how bad you are, right? So if you roll like a 1 or a 2, you are dead. If you roll a 3 or 4, it's like, it'll take you a month to heal. If you roll like a 5, 6, like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
If you have a medic or a person with medicinal skills and things like that, plus nobody used any like potions or resins the whole time. So we could have fixed that too. But then, so if you have a medic or someone around, they give you bonuses to that roll. So if you have like a medicine person that's like got a high art in medicine, they give you like plus 4 to that roll. So you can't possibly be dead if they're around, right? Because if you roll a 1, it's still actually a 5 type thing. So yeah, that's called the dead or dropped out chart. So you've technically dropped out of the fight, but you might not be dead. Especially if all that green blood is like swirling around. The ogre is done, has no rolls left, is just rolling 5 dice passively. Adana has 3 rolls left.
Yeah. So he's not grounded still.
Correct.
Okay.
He's 1 away. He's got 11. He's grounded at 10.
I am going to, let's see. How can I use cunning in my?
And I'm going to say, I guess, like narrative wise, too. I mean, Sherazad just got like gored on his horn. And so he kind of like shakes it and like throws, the Alagoth body on the ground. In the lizard blood, I guess, like, master and servant together.
Yeah, and
It's like he's snorting. He's gonna be like, he's like feeling near death, right? So he's like snorting and like the dust is like swirling around him as his nostrils like shoot that wind out.
All right, I am going to just come in again for. I'm frenzied, so I'm just trying to kill him.
And technically you will be at -2 dice because he still sets range on you, which is grapple, and you are using your
Great.
hacking blade in melee. So you're rolling 7 dice.
Okay.
Does that make sense to folks, right? Like he still has range on all of you, the ogre does.
Okay. So I roll 7. Okay. I have my rolls.
I have a 5.
I have 5, 1, 1.
Interesting. 5s cancel out. What are you gonna do with those advantages?
So I will take range.
Smart.
And give him the -1 moment.
Smart. Yep. And Theravis, your turn.
I am muted. There we go. The trick blade. I can only use that once per round or once per.
We got once per round.
Okay, so this being another new round, I could use that again.
Yep.
Okay, so I think I am going to try to do that. Well, I think this thing probably his attention is drawn towards the frenzied individual. I'm going to take that opportunity to kind of like skulk behind to hopefully try to finish this thing off.
Yeah.
So that would be fight and guile. And I would be rolling my mundane dice because I would be using.
I mean, technically you're at -2 because of you set melee range.
I set to
on
melee, and I'd be using my dagger.
Yeah. So you could, I mean, you can still do it, but I mean, it's going to be, you're rolling those fewer dice.
Yeah.
Is that 4 dice? But if you land a 3 or a 4 tack, you're going to be rolling strike against 18.
Exactly. So.
And you'll have +4, so you'll have to roll a 14.
Yep. And I mean, we already lost, 1.5 allies already. May as well try to finish this off.
Cool. I am rolling 4 dice, and I am rolling. This is straight up poker right now. I'm rolling 4 dice because I'm at that -1 penalty, and I'm in my fight labor, which means I have a limit of 13. So the chances of me getting a full 4 tack here is very high. And so we have to kind of figure each other out. If you roll a 4 and I roll a 4, nothing happens.
Right.
If you roll a 4 and I roll a 3, we both get to hit each other, or vice versa, right? So I'm just going to play my dumb ogre for the record, and you can do whatever you like.
I have chosen.
Okay. I have a 4 tack.
I have a 3 and a 1.
Nice. So you're coming at it with Trick Blade, so technically you can ignore his guard anyway. So you don't need to worry about doing fatigue with that 1.
And
normally you want to do fatigue first.
Also using the Garrote, it ignores his armor too?
That requires a 2 tack. That's a talent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, if you could have done a 3 and a 2 there, but you only had 4 dice. So yeah. So I say roll those 3, and you want to roll, what was that? He's at 18 total. You have a +4 balance, so you want to roll 14 with those 3 dice.
And I have rolled a 17.
Hey, nice. I like, so you move past his melee, taking penalties yourself, to get into range. And yeah, where do you want to stick that knife?
I'm gonna say that she's gonna come up from behind and just right across the throat to just try to. I guess originally thought just try to wear it down more for to hopefully, someone else to finish it off, but cut a little bit too deep and ended up just taking the head right off. It would seem.
Yeah, I like that. Like when it like sort of jerks with the body weight, the whole blade just goes straight into the throat. When you're like grappling on for dear life. Yeah, cool. You can slaughter maybe not the whole head, but it only a couple hacks left, and it'll be that. It drops to the ground, and I mean, I think if we want to roll on that dead or dropped off chart right now, we can see if Shezeran has woke up, and you can just do your denouement and talk about traveling back to the town and whatnot. But yeah, you've slaughtered this ogre. You can tell, like, if you look down in that gullet, there's definitely like stuff like living and creepiness. It's going to take a team to come in here and like try to repair the damage that was done those hundreds of years ago. Like slowly with that hole, sort of that pinprick in the tapestry, over hundreds of years, it's just sort of grown and spread this like hellmouth sort of like growing inside this tunnel structure. And so you've just kind of, you've found that out, and without your weaver here that could maybe help sew things up, it's going to be you sort of like, okay, we need to go back to the crown and tell folks that like this is going to be like Wolfenstein or Doom or something inside these tunnels to try to fix this world and close up this hellmouth, which is again destroying the graves of our ancestors, which is terrible.
So Shezeran just rolls a 1d10 for that chart.
Yeah.
All right. I rolled a 2.
No.
What is it 2? I haven't even seen the chart. I don't even know.
By that response, I can't imagine it's anything good.
I don't see the chart. I just thought
Let me find it.
low was bad.
2 is instant death.
I think it is actually.
Oh my god.
It's a chart. It's in the. Oh, it's going to be in the healing section.
Be ironic if instant death was in the healing section.
Yeah. Dead or dropped out chart. It's on the table of contents. 267. Oh no! Oh, duh. Low numbers are good in this game.
Oh.
Yes.
0 to 2. Awaken with 1 wound healed.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so I get a whiff of my lizard's blood.
Yeah, I put the rest of the blood in him. It's fine.
Yeah, I get a
That
whiff
is
of it. And
great.
it rouses me to attention.
That's good.
Thank goodness I didn't fail at my mission.
Dang. Phew. Yeah, so you guys, so you can see, so you get all that backstory by, I guess, like looking into the hole, you can see it's like alive. And you are like, I guess Shezeran, and you would know enough of like what loom magic is in the tapestry.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, yeah, somebody, when that ancestor cut that hole in the fabric, it's been slowly festering for hundreds of years. And now it's like a full-on hellscape underneath these foothills. So also in the villages then, that village, there wasn't a harvest god that was out. The ogre was just eating people. And so they were sort of scared about, they're like, oh, the harvest god is here. And yeah.
I figured
and
it was
think-
connected in some way.
Yeah. And then one of the other villages, they have actually been blowing up. That was them actually that was trying to close off all the entrances. And so the villages one of the villages has been slowly going out and like destroying tomb openings to try to keep these hell monsters inside it. And then I forget what the other village. Oh, the other village is just like, it's a boogeyman. It's like Grendel and Beowulf, like something is eating our children, like please help us. type deal. So, yeah. So yeah, little revelations there.
That's why Wakota had to stay at that first one. You knew that it wasn't the harvest god. Didn't bother to tell us.
Yeah, so he did it out of like no. He's like, no, I'm gonna help this village. Like, there's something wrong here.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I thought that the being on the tower was incredibly cool, and the reaction to the ogre, that was fantastic.
And I think the hardest part was that the fact that we just hammered you with that one indirect attack, but that's literally the point of an indirect attack, right? It's like one of the rare ways you can use the environment against folks. And I could have made the ogre roll, against a tower to see how strong it was, but it was, I think, good climactic enough to just, one big tack there for the 5.
I was actually thinking about trying to do like a sort of Sephiroth move where I'd like come down with like the big sword and send it back down the gullet, like on top of it. But then then the tower exploded. So that went out the window.
Yeah. Well, and I like the idea of having everyone in the air like that too, though, right? Like even like in a low fantasy setting, I don't think it was too ninja-ish or something to have these characters just like up and like, hanging on that bat. Like it's like jumping and grabbing onto the drone or something, right? Like,
right.
I guess it was kind of like that Obi-Wan fight, right? Where he's on the lizard in that, like the Attack of the Clones, like you said.
Yeah, I'd say, yeah.
So yeah, I think it would be in addition to my epithet at some point about surviving 2 falls from 7 stories within a minute span.
The wall came tumbling down.
Yeah, in full heavy armor. It's like going back up. All right, cool. So I guess just in terms of the wrap there, I don't know if you had any like anything written with like meeting back at the crown or anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing then becomes based on the knowledge that you have. If you had like sort of made relationships with the village people or like Arachi there, like what you would want to do, you could sort of decide how much information you wanted to give, I guess, to the crown, or how much you might want to go in and look for that artifact yourself. That definitely, and I think Jonas kind of felt that too, though. That's where like the divide would have come between the parties, right? Like how much the Alagoths might care about the weaving and how much the Neferata wouldn't have. And so, yeah, it would really be then up to you guys. I wouldn't make like sort of random encounters happen on the way back. I would say you could go back through the villages and sort of wrap up any of the opening things. Like now, you might go pick up Wakiota and say like, yeah, we get why you were scared now or something, right? And pick them up on the way back, or try to trace down Arachi and realize that, there was something to her sort of mischief as well. But either way, yeah, it would be totally up to the characters and up to the events that led up to it, what you would do with the crown. There's no like, here's your gold, thank you, type of scene. Because really, yeah, you kind of want it to be just like whatever can of worms you opened, you can now close. But we kind of got through there without opening too many of those cans.
Yeah, I think in terms, like what Adana would do would certainly be one, like the mission was a success. Like we went, we found out what happened, and I safeguarded Shezeran and Wakiota. It was borderline with one of them, but
we lucked out on a roll or two.
Yeah, success. So in terms of all of that, like I feel duties fulfilled, and I would give the full report as well. Like everything that I saw, I wouldn't try to veil any of it through. Well, let's imagine then we're back then, right? So yeah, you pick up the other druid and you get there, and yeah, you give that report in that throne chamber, right? She would look to the wrapped up and bandaged Alagoths. It seems like there is more to be done in these tombs. Do you have any other folks and your passive weavers
any other folks in the area that would like to come and help for maybe some kind of compensation. Obviously, she doesn't have to pay you 2 Neferata. You just have to do what she says. But yeah, she'll pitch the two. Maybe we can even say that that our druid got knocked out himself. So maybe he's injured in a cot somewhere, and Shezeran would have to make the deal. But yeah, she'll definitely ask for the help of more weavers or more of your druid circles if there are any more in this area. I have heard there were some travelers, but if you can somehow call them together, we could use their help patching the loom, as it were.
Absolutely. I think seeing the extent of the damage of what's occurring, despite our valiant efforts, I think what we've seen is only the very beginning of a larger war. So I think it behooves us to gather as many loom weavers as possible together to combat the threat.
And Adana, would you be against wearing your general's mantle again and taking more than a handful, but like a full company of troops into the foothills? I know you've officially retired and are on pension, but if you would be willing to take up arms again, we could use it.
Of course, whatever is needed. This unflinching, like.
And I think Theravis will kind of take this opportunity to be like, well, if we're going to, small scale like combat, this would be a great time to test a lot of the magical theories she's been brewing up. So she's also going to volunteer her services in any way that she can to aid in this endeavor.
Cool. Yeah, and I think, maybe even like your patron might be there, right? Your sort of magic teacher could be in the room too and want to compare notes and see what you've learned. And you're sort of doing blood. Hopefully you collected some vials of all those different beasts and animals, bloods and stuff, and you can bring it for their laboratory. Yeah, I like
Absolutely.
that. And Adana now knows what it's like to be possessed by lizard blood and the frenzy.
Yeah, afterward I was not happy about it for sure.
Oh, and let's say the crown, she's still pissed though, because her statue, the dude is still in pain. So now he's like kind of like clawing at his eyes, and the statue, it's like it's still wherever his body is, buried in that tomb. Like you all got to go save his body.
Well,
right? His
I
soul
guess
is in
she should
torment.
be thankful that it wasn't in one of the tombs that exploded,
Yes,
because otherwise
Well, or
that statue would be a lot messier.
True, but now you've got to go excavate it and find it somewhere. But yeah, so it's still like in torment. So maybe she's not happy. She's like, okay, thank you very much. Have a good night's sleep and leave tomorrow. And go find, if that's what the answer is, then go find that body and save my ancestor whose soul is in torment right now. As it's like creepily getting pulled into a hellmouth. Yeah. So you all get one night's rest. The sequel starts the next morning.
Let's go. I'm down.
So I'm gonna look at the heraldry chart real fast about your like going up a level. So you look at like how big that adventure was, and in kind of way it might not have been big enough to get you like a really big sort of epithet. This is then on page 279. So we go through the people: peasants, minstrels, chiefs, heroes, kings, and queens. Maybe you could say it was kings and queens. You dealt with a crown. You dealt with an ancestor corpse that's in some like super protected ancient tomb. Like we might say kings and queens level people. Artifacts, definitely some kind of a high level item that cut a loom. You didn't really interact with it though, maybe. The criterion is, would this adventure be written in the history of X? So would this adventure be written in the history of these kings or queens? Yeah. Like now the story of this ancestor is that their soul is being tormented. So you would get mentioned in that person's story. For the heirloom, maybe not. It would depend on once you solve the issue, then maybe you'd be written in it. Because right now, all you know is that it exists. Places, I might put that at the city level. So we're looking at 200 there. Enemies, This ogre is technically a lesser beast, I believe. So that would be 200 also. So you're looking at 1900, which on this chart here of like the initial ones can get you, any of your first 5 or 6 epithets. So yeah, that would be good enough. You would be like, yes, I want to unlock that epithet. Like let's build that out. And you could choose, what kind of abilities you wanted to sort of put in it, and then spend your renown to, basically then purchase it.
Very cool.
Sweet. Yeah, and then in terms of like adding those,
Did I just share my screen? No? Okay.
No.
Sorry.
where it says, so it says like on this we have the 4 epithets, but then typically
You have 7.
You have 7.
Yeah.
And then, but this page requirement says 10th. So what's like the difference there?
For which page are you looking at?
278, where it says like epithet page requirements, and then it goes up to 10th.
Oh yeah, because really that character sheet, like if you wanted to keep playing, you could keep playing. By that point, it just goes 500, 500, 500. So we kind of like set up the, you could do the 11th if you wanted type deal. But nowadays, even with these character sheets, like I said, these are new character sheets I put together. But 4 would be if you were going to be like at a convention for the weekend, and you played in like maybe 3 or 4 games or something like that. I could imagine you getting, a couple at the weekend and something. So I think for me, having 4 on a character sheet is probably enough for, this sort of like early dark orthodoxy type thing. But then you're right, the traditional character sheet would have more. You can get more. I think it feels better sometimes, I think, when you have that limit of like your character's only going to get 7, you might as well make them as big as you can type deal. And so that's something that again came because of the character sheet. And once I started realizing that players were like concerned about that, it was like, oh, it is good to keep them concerned about that. Let's play with that tension, right? So now it's like how we present it, because it plays up their tension of whether or not they want to go on those quests or not.
All right. Awesome. Is there anything else to, as part of like the wrap up to add on to that, or?
No, yeah. I enjoyed playing. I really think that the party was kind of strange, I think, in how it turned out. Like I said, I did some random rolls, and then building out those heroes. Like the 4 that you picked, I think went well together. Everyone had sort of it was like a lower. Most people had a lower thrive, except for our blood magic user. We had a lot of people with a low move also. So there's just a couple little, like overall group things. I think everyone worked around that really well. I think that's the closest I've ever seen a one-shot when it comes to people almost dying, people getting huge 4 and 5 techs. To me, that's pretty sweet. To me, I had a blast. To me, that was super successful enough where I would only have to run this adventure like one more time before I felt safe publishing it, really, right? I'd want, like you did all that whole one side, and now I want to do it where we hit every little thing along the way. But you kind of already came up with all that stuff that normally you wouldn't get to without 3 or 4 or 5 play tests, right? Like, I think the way you're like, what about if we go here? What about if we go here and here? Like, that was kind of the perfect way to give me, the sort of the obscure route, sort of, right? Like, which is awesome. Having that other entrance, and even then knowing how to maneuver, like literally giving someone the option of whichever village they want to go to. I was nervous about that. I was like, no, we have to go 1, 2, and 3 in order so it builds the whatever. You didn't do that, still works fine, right? So that kind of, I got a lot out of it from that regard as well. So it was a blast for me. I really appreciate your time, and I really appreciate folks sticking around, especially, like Billy staying after, you were going to leave. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's been a blast.
Yeah, I had a ton of fun. Yeah, thank you very much.
This was a
Thank
lot
you.
of fun.
Thanks for doing this. This is awesome.
Welcome to Dungeons and Dragons.